Good morning, Year 5. We're on to Lesson 13 of our Destination Reader sessions. Remember, keywords are in red, questions for you to answer are in blue, and writing time is in green. We're going to continue with strategy number 3 today, inference. Let's have a look at some of the vocabulary that we will see in today's chapter. Literature. Literature, which are books or writing published on a particular subject. Gutsy. Gutsy, which means having or showing courage, determination, and spirit. Amiably. Amiably, which means in a friendly and pleasant manner. When you do something amiably, you do it in a friendly and pleasant manner. And regale. Regale, which means to entertain or amuse someone with talk. Have a look out for these keywords as we read today. Let's remind ourselves of what answer a 1 mark, 2 mark, and 3 mark question need. You can make a note of your ideas on your piece of paper or in your home learning book as we go along. 1 mark questions need a short, snappy answer. As a head start, can you think about what a 2 mark question might need? Well done. They need a point and evidence answer, a PE answer. How about 3 mark questions? Brilliant work. They need a PEE answer, point, evidence, and explanation. We're going to continue reading. We're on page 95 now, and we're reading the chapter, Throwing the Hammer. I will read and you will follow along. Remember, you can use your ruler if this helps. We will stop at certain points to give you time to make inferences. The nice thing about Matilda was that if you had met her casually and talked to her, you would have thought she was a perfectly normal 5.5-year-old child. She displayed almost no outward signs of her brilliance, and she never showed off. This is a very sensible and quiet little girl, you would have said to yourself. And unless for some reason you had started a discussion with her about literature or mathematics, you would never have known the extent of her brain power. It was therefore easy for Matilda to make friends with other children. All those in her class liked her. They knew, of course, that she was clever, because they had heard her being questioned by Miss Honey on the first day of term. And they knew also that she was allowed to sit quietly with a book during lessons and not pay attention to the teacher. But children of their age do not search deeply for reasons. They are far too wrapped up in their own small struggles to worry overmuch about what others are doing and why. Among Matilda's newfound friends was the girl called Lavender. Right from the first day of term, the two of them started wandering around together during the morning break and in the lunch hour. Lavender was exceptionally small for her age, a skinny little nymph with deep brown eyes and with dark hair that was cut in a fringe across her forehead. Matilda liked her because she was gutsy and adventurous. She liked Matilda for exactly the same reasons. Before the first week of term was up, awesome tales about the headmistress, Miss Trunchbull, began to filter through the newcomers. Matilda and Lavender, standing in a corner of the playground during morning break on the 3rd day, were approached by a rugged 10-year-old with a boil on her nose called Hortensia. "New scum, I suppose," Hortensia said to them, looking down from her great height. She was eating from an extra-large bag of potato crisps and digging the stuff out in handfuls. "Welcome to Borstal," she added. spraying bits of crisp out of her mouth like snowflakes. The two tiny ones, confronted by this giant, kept a watchful silence. My question: what impression are we initially given about Hortensia for 2 marks? You can say your answer out loud and then make a note of your ideas on your piece of paper or in your home learning book. Press play once you are ready to continue. I think that the author makes Hortensia seem intimidating because she refers to Matilda and Lavender as new scum. As she says this, she looks down on them, which reinforces the height difference between the children. So Roald Dahl makes it very clear that Hortensia is a lot taller than the children and she looks down on them, which suggests that she could be intimidating. Let's continue. Have you met the Trunchbull yet? Hortensia asked. We've seen her at prayers, Lavender said, but we haven't met her. You've got a treat coming to you, Hortensia said. She hates very small children. She therefore loathes the bottom class and everyone in it. She thinks 5-year-olds are grubs that haven't yet hatched out. In went another fistful of crisps, and when she spoke again, out sprayed the crumbs. If you survive your first year, you may just manage to live through the rest of your time here. But many don't survive. They get carried out on stretchers screaming. I've seen it often. Hortensia paused to observe the effect these remarks were having on the two titchy ones. Not very much. They seemed pretty cool. So the large one decided to regale them with further information. I suppose you know that the Trunchbull has a lock-up cupboard in her private quarters called the Chokey. Have you heard about the Chokey? Matilda and Lavender shook their heads and continued to gaze up at the giant. Being very small, they were inclined to mistrust any creature that was larger than they were, especially senior girls. We're going to stop again. Do you think the Chokey is somewhere the children would like to end up? And why? For 3 marks. I would like you to say your answer out loud and then make a note of your ideas on your piece of paper or in your home learning book. Press play once you are ready to continue. I think that the Chokey is not somewhere that the children would like to end up, because Hortensia refers to it as a lock-up cupboard, and I've used a direct quotation from the text. This suggests that it is somewhere considered terrifying, and it can be inferred that this area may be used as a punishment. It also does not have a very pleasant name. I've made my main point that I think that the Chokey is not somewhere the children would like to end up. I've said why using a quotation from the text, and I've also explained what this suggests. This backs up my main point. Well done, and I look forward to reading your answers. Let's continue. The Chokey, Hortensia went on, is a very tall but very narrow cupboard. The floor is only 10 inches square, so you can't sit down or squat in it. You have to stand. And 3 of the walls are made of cement, with bits of broken glass sticking out all over, so you can't lean against them. You have to stand more or less at attention all the time when you get locked up in there. It's terrible. Can't you lean against the door? Matilda asked. Don't be daft, Hortensia said. The door's got thousands of sharp spiky nails sticking out of it. They've been hammered through from the outside, probably by the Trunchbull herself. Have you ever been in there? Lavender asked. My first term I was in there 6 times, Hortensia said. Twice for a whole day, and the other times for 2 hours each. But 2 hours is quite bad enough. It's pitch dark and you have to stand up dead straight, and if you wobble at all, you get spiked either by the glass on the walls or the nails on the door. Why were you put in? Matilda asked. What had you done? The first time, Hortensia said, I poured half a tin of golden syrup onto the seat of the chair of the Trunchbull, was going to sit on at prayers. It was wonderful. When she lowered herself into the chair, there was a loud squelching noise similar to that made by a hippopotamus when lowering its foot into the mud on the banks of the Limpopo River. But you're too small and stupid to have read the Just So stories, aren't you? I've read them, Matilda said. You're a liar, Hortensia said amiably. You can't even read yet, but no matter. So when the Trunchbull sat down on the golden syrup, the squelch was beautiful. And when she jumped up again, the chair sort of stuck to the seat of those awful green breeches she wears, and came up with her for a few seconds until the thick syrup slowly came unstuck. Then she clasped her hands to the seat of her breeches, and both hands got covered in the muck. You should have heard her bellow. But how did she know it was you? Lavender asked. A little squirt called Ollie Bogwhistle sneaked on me, Hortensia said. I knocked his front teeth out. And the Trunchbull put you in the Chokey for a whole day? Matilda asked, gulping. All day long, Hortensia said. I was off my rocker when she let me out. I was babbling like an idiot. What were the other things you did to get put in the Chokey? Lavender said. Oh, I can't remember them all now, Hortensia said. She spoke with the air of an old warrior who has been in so many battles that bravery has become commonplace. It's all so long ago, she added, stuffing more crisps into her mouth. Ah, yes, I can remember one. Here's what happened. I chose a time when I knew the Trunchbull would be out of the way teaching the sixth formers, and I put my hand up. I put my hand up and asked to go to the bogs. But instead of going there, I sneaked into the Trunchbull's room, and after a speedy search, I found the drawer where she kept all her gym knickers. Go on, Matilda said, spellbound. What happened next? I had sent away by post, you see, for this very powerful itching powder, Hortensia said. It cost 50p a packet, and was called the Skin Scorcher. The label said it was made from the powdered teeth of deadly snakes, and it was guaranteed to raise welts the size of walnuts on your skin. So I sprinkled this stuff inside every pair of knickers in the drawer, and then folded them all up carefully. Hortensia paused to cram more crisps into her mouth. Did it work? Lavender asked. Well, Hortensia said. A few days later, during prayers, the Trunchbull suddenly started scratching herself like mad down below. Ah! I said to myself. Here we go. She's changed for gym already. We're going to stop so I can ask another question. Why might Hortensia be telling Matilda and Lavender about all of the reasons that she has been sent to the Chokey? For 3 marks. I would like you to say your answer out loud and then make a note of your ideas on your piece of paper or in your home learning book. I think that Hortensia is telling Matilda and Lavender about how she's ended up in the Chokey because she wants to show off to the children about how she has played tricks on Miss Trunchbull. Hortensia says, my first term I was in there 6 times, suggesting that she is almost bragging about being in there so frequently when she started the school. Perhaps she wants to see if the children will do the same. I would love it if you could email me your 3-mark question answers. That's all we've got time to read today, Year 5. But we are going to continue this chapter tomorrow and we will carry on making inferences. On your piece of paper or in your home learning book, make a list of what you could infer so far about the character Hortensia.